Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss a very beautiful poem written by Thomas Gray. And Thomas Gray, as we all know, is a poet of pre-romantic era. Romanticism has not started because it started from 1798 only. The poem is Elegy written in the country churchyard, which was published in 1750. And this poem is very philosophic and quite longer in nature. So, for the benefit of the listeners, uh, I have divided this poem into two parts. So this is part one. Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss a very beautiful poem written by Thomas Gray. And Thomas Gray, as we all know, is a poet of pre-romantic era. Romanticism has not started because it started from 1798 only. The poem is Elegy written in the country churchyard, which was published in 1750. And this poem is very philosophic and quite longer in nature. So, for the benefit of the listeners, uh, I have divided this poem into two parts. So, this is part one. Thomas Gray, who was born in 1716 and who died in 1771. Part one of Elegy written in the country churchyard. This poem is an elegy in name but not in form. It employs a style similar to that of contemporary odes, but it embodies a meditation on death and remembrance after death. Gray's life was surrounded by loss and death, and many people whom he knew died painfully and alone. An epitaph is included after the conclusion of the poem. The epitaph reveals that the poet whose grave is the focus of the poem was unknown and obscure. Now, this is the first stanza of the poem, the elegy written in the country churchyard. Now, the poet is standing perhaps on the churchyard, somewhere in the countryside. The background is rustic, and immediately, the poet started reflecting upon the village life, the countryside life. The curfew tolls the knell of the parting day. Now, since it is evening and the sound of the gong, which emanated from the church, which is in the neighborhood, that is indicative of the end of the day. The lowing herd went slowly over the lea. Now the herd of animal, they after listening to the sound of gong, they knew that the night is gradually approaching. So they started coming towards their home in the village nearby. The ploughman homeward plods his weary way. Now, as far as the ploughman is concerned, the farmer is concerned, he has started accompanying those animals, and he is also weary, he is also exhausted, and he felt relieved after listening to the sound of gong, and leaves the world to darkness and to me. And the poet says that animals and their plowmen or the farmer, now they are gradually moving towards the home which is there in the village nearby. And he, since he is standing on the churchyard, so he felt that now the darkness is embalming everything, including himself, the farmer along with their domestic animals. Now fades the glimmering landscape on the sight. Poet says that since he is standing on the churchyard, so gradually he saw that the evening is about to wane over and the night is fast approaching, fast embalming the entire landscape. And all the air a solemn stillness holds. Now, everywhere there is stillness, there is silence, There is absolutely no disturbances. Utter darkness is there, save where the beetle wheels his droning flight. Now, if the poet only hears the sound of the beetle, and drowsy twinkling lulls the distant folds. And everywhere in the village, now they have become drowsy and they wanted to sleep because now they did not have any work to do. Save that from yonder ivy mantled tower, the moping owl does to the moon complain. Author says that now everybody slept in the village which is nearby that churchyard, except that owl. Now, that owl perhaps used to reside in the church nearby, and perhaps that owl has made some home of his in the tower of that church, and from that tower now the owl is shouting or complaining. And to whom he is complaining? He is complaining to moon. The moping owl does to the moon complain of such as wandering near her sacred bar. Now perhaps the owl is complaining to the moon as to why you are entering my bar, or entering my privacy, or entering my room. Molest her ancient solitary reign, because owl prefers darkness, whereas the moon, through her light, it appears as if that she is trying to molest the owl. Therefore owl is not at all happy, and owl is complaining to the moon as to why you are molesting me. Beneath those rugged elms and yew tree shade. Now, since the poet is standing on the churchyard, now he immediately saw elm trees and yew trees. Now, these trees are often found in the churchyard. So, beneath those rugged elms and yew tree shade, rugged means untrimmed, natural. Beneath those rugged elms, that yew tree shade, where heaps the turf in many a mouldering heap. Now there are many places where people are buried, and over their burial place, soil or some part of earth is put on that. Each in his narrow cell forever laid, the rude forefathers of the hamlet sleep. Poet says that forefathers, or the people who used to reside in the periphery, in the neighborhood of this church, now when they die, they are buried in different cells, and they are buried under the debris of soil. So author says that these forefathers, now they are permanently sleeping because they are dead, and they are buried in narrow cells in the churchyard. The breezy call of incense breathing morn, the swallow twittering from the straw-built shed, the cock's shrill clarion or the echoing horn, no more shall rouse them from their lowly bed. Now the poet has become reflective, and he is contemplating that since the rude forefathers are dead, therefore now they are not affected by, not influenced by the breezy call in the morning, because since they are dead, therefore they cannot enjoy the breeze in the morning of that background of that village. The swallow twittering from the straw built shed. Swallow is a bird. Now the poet says that the twittering of the swallow now cannot impress upon the people who are now dead, especially the forefathers who are buried in the churchyard. The swallow twittering from the straw-built shed, the cock's shrill clarion on the echoing horn. And as far as the sound of the cock, the shrill clarion of the cock, Now they are ineffective in front of the rude forefathers. Why? Because they are dead and buried. No more shall rouse them from their lowly bed, since they are already dead. Therefore, now the cock's sound, or the twittering of the swallow, or the movement of the breeze, now they are useless for these rude forefathers who are dead and buried in the churchyard. For them no more the blaze hearth shall burn. Author says that since these rude forefathers are dead and buried, therefore now no more foods are prepared for them by their wives or by their family members. For them no more the blazing hearth shall burn. Hearth is a place from where the food is prepared. Or busy housewife ply for evening care. Now, since they are dead, therefore no housewife are eager enough to prepare a meal for them, because they knew that now my family member is no more. No children run to lisp their sire's return. Now the children perhaps finally they have reconciled with the fact that since my near and dear one, or my father or my grandfather, since they are no more, therefore now even the childrens are not waiting for their return, or climbed his knees the envied kiss to share. And now since children too has reconciled with the fact that their father or grandfather is no more, so now they are not engrossed in the competition of stealing the first kiss from their father or forefather, since they have come to know that my father or grandfather is now no more, and they are buried in the churchyard. Often did the harvest to their sickle yield, their furrows oft the stubborn glebe has broke. Now poet says that normally the people from the city they adjudged these farmers, rude for farmers, as backward. But although they are poor, but they are not without skill. These people are skillful. So when the harvesting has to be done with their sickle, they used to broke the stubborn glib of the plant. Means they are very expert in their work or in the process of harvesting. How jocund did they drive their team afield? The poet says that not only they are expert in their work, but also perhaps they have the leadership quality, because they used to make their entire team who are engrossed in uh, uh, they are engrossed in the harvesting activity. Now in order to entertain them, they also time and again used to jocund them, or used to make them light by cracking jokes. How bored the woods beneath their sturdy stroke. Now they are, since they are very skillful, therefore through their expertise, through their skill in harvesting, even the sturdy plant, or even the robust or stubborn plants, they are immediately cut down. They are the farmers who are engrossed in the activity of harvesting. Let not ambition mock their useful toil. Author says that normally people from the city they are ambitious in nature. They harbor some amount of ambition or objective in their life. Whereas people from rural background they are devoid of any ambition, because their life is quite simple and straightforward. Now the author, the poet asks that let not ambition mock their useful toil. Means let the people from the city, they should mock at the humble livelihood of the people from the rural background. Their homely joys and destiny obscures. Why? Because their joys are very homely, very limited, and their destiny is without any recognition because they are obscure. Nor grandeur here with a disdainful smile, the short and simple annals of the poor. Author says that the grandeur is associated with the people from the city. Now, the people from the city, they should not look at the people from rural background with a disdainful smile. Means the people from the city should not mock at, laugh at the people from the rural background, even though they are simple. The short and simple annals of the poor. Now, as far as the people from the rural background is concerned, they are very simple and they led a life of simplicity. The boast of heraldry, the pomp of power, and all that beauty, all that wealth ever gave, awaits alike the inevitable hour. The path of glory lead but to the grave. Now, the poet says that normally we are proud of four things. The first thing is our heraldry or our background. Second thing is that power. If somebody in our family or in our relatives are powerful, then we now and again boast of that power. Beauty. If we are beautiful in comparison to our neighbor, to our other family members, then also that becomes a matter of pride. And wealth is the fourth factor which is responsible for pride. So author says that as far as this heraldry or heredity is concerned, background or power or beauty or wealth, now these things, these four things are responsible for spoiling the integrity of a person because they make people proud. Normally people extract proud out of these four important ingredients, but author says that they awaits alike the inevitable hour. Now, as far as the inevitable hour or the death is concerned, death does not discriminate between people having a very good background or the people having a very humble background, people who are powerful or people who are powerless, people who are beautiful or people who are normal, people who are wealthy or people who are humble or poor. Now, as far as death is concerned, death never discriminate between people among these criteria because the path of glory led but to the grave, because the final destiny of human being is grave only, death only, and death do not discriminate on these factors. Churchyard, where the many peoples are buried. Can storied urn or animated burst back to its mansion call the fleeting breath? Now the poet says that after the death, now the beautiful urn or the beautiful marble statue, they cannot uh, they cannot call back the dead man's soul. Means people who are dead, people who are devoid of breath, people whose breath is already over, they cannot be returned by the beautiful statue or a beautiful urn. Can honor's voice provoke the silent dust or flattery soothe the dull cold ear of death? Now poet says that as far as death is concerned, death is deaf. So once the person is dead, howsoever you are resort in the flattery of that dead person, or howsoever you are engrossed in giving him honor, that departed person, that dead person cannot become alive. Perhaps in this neglected spot is led some heart once pregnant with celestial fire. Author says that in this churchyard, many burial places, many people who are died in the vicinity has been buried. Now their burial places are neglected. Why? Because people who are buried, they are from homely background, they are from humble background. But if they have been given opportunity, they would have written many a great literature. Some heart once pregnant with celestial fire, hands that the rod of empire might have swayed. Now, some of them who are buried here, if they would have given the opportunity, they would have become a greatest king of the world, or walk the ecstasy living liar. Or if given opportunity, some people who are buried and who did not have done anything worthy, if they would have given the opportunity, they would have become the greatest musician of the world. People who are buried in the churchyard. But knowledge to their eyes, her ample page, rich with the spoils of time, did never unroll. Poet says that since people from rural background, they did not get the opportunity to acquire scholarship, to acquire knowledge. Therefore, in their lifetime, they did not achieve anything significant. Chill penury repressed their noble rage. Now, although they wanted to acquire something significant in their life, but unfortunately, they kept on confronting poverty. Chill penury means poverty repressed their noble rage, repressed their urge to acquire knowledge, and froze the genial current of the soul. Now, their soul wanted to acquire something, their soul wanted to create something significant in their life, but unfortunately, why they have not done so? Because throughout their life, they kept on confronting poverty, poor people from village. Full many a gem of purest ray serene, the dark unfathomed caves of ocean bear. The poet says that there are many gems, there are many stones which are away from the position of human being. Why? Because they are hidden somewhere in the caves of ocean. Full many a flowers is born to blush unseen and waste its sweetness on the desert air. Author further adds that there are many beautiful flowers in this world and they are full of beautiful sweet fragrance, but unfortunately they are away from human position because they blossom somewhere in the desert. Some village Hamden with dauntless breast, the little tyrant of his field withstood. Author says that in this graveyard, if given an opportunity, some of the villagers would have been like Hampden, who was a leader of England with a very dauntless breast. But since they have not got opportunity, therefore they have not become popular as that of Hampton. Some mute inglorious Milton here may rest, some Cromwell guiltless of his country's blood. Now, if given an opportunity, some villagers would have become Milton, and some of them, if given an opportunity, would have become Oliver Cromwell.